I'd like to call this meeting to order. Any public comment related to the agenda items? Board members? None heard. Before we begin, I want to welcome to the board our newest board member, Director Amanda Donia. Congratulations, welcome. Any comments, any words?
Looking forward to working with everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you to the family. Look forward to working with you as well. Items for information, financial, Mr. Scott Reed.
Thank you, sir. So review, I'm sorry, this is August monthly, but this is September monthly financial reports provided. The first thing is the bills to be paid list. So if there's any particular questions you have on any of those, please let us know. We can provide further detail. Number one is your balance sheet report. This is reflecting the district's assets, liabilities, and fund balance for all funds. Our main focus during the year is typically on our general fund, specifically the cash and investment balances to ensure sufficient cash flow to cover payroll and operations. Current general fund cash is sufficient for our short-term needs, even with the state budgeting pass. Your second report is your bank balance report. This captures the monthly bank activity at a high level for all the district accounts. The overall cash balance in the general fund increased $2.6 million, despite the fact that the district's revenue had decreased $2.6 million. And again, that's due to the state budget impasse currently. Your third is your revenue account summary report. This provides budget to actual for each general fund revenue at the high level. Local and state revenues have exceeded budget for prior year actuals. Again, we had a influx on our local tax revenue for at this period right now. The state revenue, again, it's looking at 2.5 million decrease. Again, once again, this is the state budget not being passed. The district will need to continue to rely on our current cash flow and local revenue sources for the foreseeable future. Your fourth report is your expense report. This provides a good report at higher level on where expenses stand by function in the object code. And for September, they're in line with the prior year expenses with about a 3% increase over last year. The district's four highest expense categories are equipment and property, our salaries and benefits, and then tuition, which is your charter, private school, and VOTEC, and then transportation as well. The actual expenses below meet expectations with the DCE grant project occurring and activity leading up to the start of this school year. And then other highlights, as I said, we're currently in a good place with our cash reserves. Talking about the transfer of the $5.8 million to our capital reserve funds, we're looking to move that to next November meeting, granted that the state passes our budget. The Stephen Foster building at 800 Russell, the bid is in. The voting is on the agenda to vote to accept the bid for this month. The DCED grant reimbursement, we did last month receive the reimbursement of the $1.34 million, and we're looking at submitting another reimbursement for $461,000 next month. Still working with our solicitor office on a charter school settlement that was found and not had been processed yet. We're waiting on the go-ahead to be able to mail those checks out. The federal program, our current quarterly and final reports that are due to PD, working on those. Cleaning up the bank account access and authorize, that was what we had to sign for the signers. And then we're also starting to prepare for the annual audit from last year. That's all I have, unless there are any questions or concerns.
Can I just ask one thing, please?
Yep.
I just think it would be helpful to put officially on the record that you are not paying charter invoices at this point in time due to the Harrisburg budget impasse, and that you have sent notification to each of the charter schools that you're verifying their invoice entries and that payment will come once the funds are released.
Correct. Yeah. So as Nancy said, we had put out to all the charter schools, since the state budget is not passed, we're not getting the subsidies for that. So we are not currently paying. They know that. And we're doing the audits and to make sure all the accurate invoices that they're bringing. We are paying that if there's anything from last year or prior year, like reconciliation, we will pay those. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll move on to report presentations. Up next, our superintendent, Mrs. Sonia Coleman, with the report for October 2025.
Good evening, everyone. I'll give him a second to get the presentation populated. Okay. Guess it doesn't want to move forward for us. Okay, so every month when I present, I'm always going to ground us in our mission. And then next is always going to be our core values. And I think that's important. And I'm always going to say this because we need to always be reminded of why we do this work. And so I'm always going to populate our mission and our core beliefs at the top of any presentation. You can move forward. Next, just reminding us of what our priorities are this year. Next slide. There are two priorities. One is focused on our academics, and the second one is focused on our staff. So in order for us to ensure that we have high academic standards, we have to ensure that our staff has all the things that they need to support students in the classroom. Next slide. So for this summary, the purpose of this summary is really at a high level overview of what's taken place in the district, the performance for the month of October, highlighting any achievement, any ongoing strategic initiatives, as well as anything that may require the board's attention. And I will always ensure that it's aligned to strategic priorities taking place in the district. So the first thing I want to highlight is our value-added data came out, and I want to draw your attention to, well, it's called PBOS data. Draw your attention to our upper elementary, our middle grades. And the reason why I want to highlight this, and the reason why I think it's so critical, is the growth and achievement that our middle grade students have made, which tells us that moving forward, we are going to see some high achievement that is going to start happening at our high school. And I say that because one of our goals that is tied to our comprehensive strategic plan is college and career readiness. And part of that is adding additional AP and dual enrollment classes. So now this is showing that we're going to have a cohort of students that can help us increase the number of students, which is going to increase our readiness indicator on our local report card. So there's always a plan in place. Next, because we're in recovery, so we're always going to keep an eye on our enrollment and our attendance, right? Critically important. While people may say this is small, we're up 1% from last month. And I don't care what anyone says, a win is a win, and I'm going to take that win. I want to take a moment and do some highlights, and I'm going to highlight our staff. Many might not know that our staff come in 5 days a week for professional learning community meetings. And they come in the morning, 45 minutes, and at the high school, they're here at 6:30 in the morning, and they're meeting and they're looking at student data and they're looking at ways that they can adjust instruction and make improvements in their classroom. So I want to take a moment and highlight our teachers that are really getting involved in their professional learning communities. And then the second piece is we do something called learning tours, the district level team. And so in the learning tours, there's specific things that we're looking at in terms of what's taking place in class. And the thing that we're wanting to highlight is lesson engagement. And that means when we're going in the class, we're seeing students engaged in lessons, which is what you want to see. And so I want to say kudos to our teachers that are really taken hold of our instructional framework. Many of you know we did not have an instructional framework prior to this year. And so they're really grabbing hold of the things that are rolled out every month. And I really just wanted to take a moment and highlight the work that they're doing. For our student highlight, I learned that last year they had financial aid night, but they only had 2 students that attended last year. This year, they did financial aid night and early college awareness, and there were significantly more students here as pictured in the picture here. And so we started talking early in the year about the importance of focusing on college and access early in the school year. Do not wait until second semester to start determining where you want to go and what you want to do. And I was so pleased and excited to see the number of students that were at this event early in September. It was at the end of the month of September. So I just want to send a shout out to our senior class. I'm not going to spend time talking about the finance because I think Scott did an amazing job doing that and explaining our finances. I want to do a quick update on operations and facilities in terms of the primary fencing, because I get a lot of questions because I believe people think I can just erect a fence overnight, but there are several things that have to happen before you can put a fence up, like getting bids, having companies come out and make sure there are no electrical lines, water lines. So phase 1, part 1 is complete. Penn Fencing has informed us that within the next 2 weeks, they are going to give us our date that they will be out to put up the fence. And as soon as I have an update, I will make sure everyone else has an update. The other 2 things would be, many people were aware that we did have a huge plumbing issue here at the high school where there was a cracked plumbing line on the 3rd floor that has since been repaired, as well as an issue at the primary school in the kitchen, which has since been repaired. Community engagement. I had the opportunity to attend the ribbon cutting at McKees Rocks Opportunity Center, part of Goodwill, and I was really excited to attend this because they are opening the doors for opportunities in our community for families, adults, and young adults to get training, job training, and access and opportunities that they may not otherwise get. So that is open to the community. As well as I attended last night, the Community Coalition, and I spoke to a group. I started meeting with parents this week of students that I would consider bubble students, that I'm concerned that if we don't intervene, that they're gonna, one, either drop out, be before the board, recommended for expulsion, or stop coming to school. And so I asked them if they could sit in on the meetings with me and have conversation with the parents and the students, because if we don't do something to try and mitigate the number of students not finishing school, then I feel like I'm culpable in them not being successful. And so I was pleased at the number of individuals that were there that said, just pick up the phone and call us. We'll be there. We're happy to sit in your meetings. And so I just wanted to shout out that group. And then, as many of you know, the Harvest Fest is taking place tonight. You probably heard the music. And the focus was on mental health and mental health awareness here. So, and that was led by Tracks. And I think a lot of individuals and a lot of people in the room are familiar with that organization. Upcoming events next week. We are being sponsored by McDonald's, our athletic program. So on October 23rd, please make sure to visit McDonald's. They'll be giving us 10% back to our athletic program, as well as Mr. Culliver and I had the opportunity to meet a wonderful organization, Peace Pro Painters, who want to just simply give back to the community. And came to us and said, can we use your facility and we just want to give back? And they're going to bring bikes, candy, you name it, just to give back to the community. So that is going to take place next Thursday here in the gymnasium. Looking ahead, we have, and I put this on here because I think, I've had people ask me, how can I get involved? And so we have committee meetings that are open to the public and open to all. We do have our Safety and Technology Committee meeting coming up on the 23rd at 4 o'clock. We have our Finance and Building and Grounds Committee meeting that's coming up on October 30th at 11:30. Our Financial Advisory Committee meeting coming up on October 29th at 4:15. All of these committees are open to the public. Anyone can attend. You can also attend virtually if you're unable to come in person. Just a few other reminders. School will be closed on Monday, November 3rd. It's a clerical day. And it also will be closed on Tuesday, November 4th for Professional Development Day. And the last thing I want to say before we do a small presentation is next month, focus will be on our comprehensive strategic plan. We're going to post online opportunities for individuals to get involved and be a part of the committee and putting that plan together. The draft portion of it is pretty much complete, but we do need individuals in the community, internal and external stakeholders to really get involved, and we need your feedback. You can either sign up to be a part of all sections or one section that really has your heart. So if you're interested, it will be posted online. I think Lydia is going to post it tonight after the board meeting. Please take the opportunity to sign up. The last thing we want to present on, I'm going to have my Director of Student Services and Title IX Coordinator come forward to speak about the impact of the Department of Education really going away and its impact on special education programming.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. So we all know that the Department of Education is in disarray at the moment. The federal government is shutting down a lot of our programming, and just this past week, they gutted 80 to 90%, looking like even more, of the special education oversight within that program. The good news is it doesn't affect any of the laws that protect our special education population. IDEA and FAPE are still protected by Congress. The challenge is that program that supported or had oversight of it is no longer there. That means that it is the responsibility of the states and the individual school districts to uphold IDEA and FAPE. We are very fortunate that we live in Pennsylvania. Our state Department of Education is a very strong advocate for special education. Most of the time, if we see an advocacy issue, it's not coming from the federal level, it's coming from our own state, because they are very protective of our vulnerable population. So they are committed to continuing to do that. The second prong of the challenges with losing that portion of the Department of Ed is the funding. So the funding that is protected by IDEA is still in place. It's just that the states are now responsible for distributing it rather than the U.S. Department of Education. That department is gone. Again, we are very fortunate that Pennsylvania is a state that values education, and specifically special education, with very strong PDE to support those programs. That's not to say that continued changes couldn't bring impacts that could result in loss of dollars. I can't predict that, but where we currently are, PDE is still protecting the distribution of those funds to the vulnerable populations that deserve them. Any high-level questions, in-depth questions of how this could potentially impact us or where this is going?
Thank you a lot. Thank you
You're welcome.
for talking about that.
Thank you so
That's
much.
a lot. Before we move on to our next presenter, I want to just give a quick shout out and really highlight our superintendent for her report she just gave to us. I mean, it was amazing to hear. The enthusiasm was amazing. I think it's important for the community to hear that stuff over and over and over again. Right. Talk about a lot of positive things, in your report. And I know it's all true. It's not fluff. It's all true. So thank you very much, for speaking on that, and looking forward to hearing your reports every single month because they're very enthusiastic. So thank you. Up next, we're going to have Allison Douglas from Nutrition Inc. The Welcome Back Food Service presentation.
Good evening. I'm just gonna hand out this.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. So the nutrition group celebrated 50 years of dedicated service to our customers this year. So a very exciting year for us in business. Our summer seminar was held this past summer for our directors of food and nutrition. We had Simon Bailey attend our seminar, who is a globally recognized speaker and author. He helped energize our directors with his message of courage, clarity, and culture shaping this summer. We also held our annual Professional Development Day, which is where our hourly staff attends a meeting, which they earn their continuing education credit requirements every year. So we hold that in one setting for them so they can accomplish all their hours there. They learn topics such as civil rights, offer versus serve, HACCP, and safety. These are just some highlights and pictures from last school year that I just wanted to touch on really quick. So one of our featured fave items over there was our apple cobbler overnight oats. The top middle picture was our Fruity Fridays event, which we held at the upper elementary school last year, where the students got to make their own fruit salad. We held a Crave Day event for the Chinese New Year. And then down there in the middle, we featured boba tea here at the high school last year on a day. And then the bottom right-hand corner is just some information about a local farm that we partner with to offer the students local fresh food. So what's new at Nutrition this school year? So 2 programs that we are bringing into this year, we've already kicked off. Nutrition Expedition is focused for our elementary students, where they get to learn about the cultural of a country and pair it with a food item that we feature that day. So last month we featured the country China, and we held that at the elementary level and at the secondary level. And then actually today here at the high school, we featured the country Mexico, and we had chicken quesadillas that paired with it. We had fun information out for the kids to learn a little bit more about the country and pair it with a food that's popular in that country. So we held that today. Some new innovative ideas, recipes essentially that we have for this school year that our chefs and dietitians continue to create fresh on-trend menu items for your students. So some things that we've already been able to try out this year is our new cheese tortellini and ravioli, and some of those other options will be on the menus upcoming. So the nutrition group cares, and we continue to do our part to be eco-friendly and care for sustainability. So one of our new initiatives this school year is a Planet Pals program. So this encourages students to make thoughtful choices when it comes to waste. So when we have our next Youth Advisory Council meeting at the elementary level, your students will get to sign a plate pledge to commit to reducing waste, just a way to incorporate them and get them to commit to being sustainable. Farm to Fork is one of our favorite yearly programs. So we feature local fresh food from a farm, from our produce vendors. So it helps teach students on how food travels from the fork to their food, and highlights foods and ingredients grown in your local school's area. So Janet's done a great job putting out signage, acknowledging some of the places that we've gotten our produce from, just so the kids can be familiar kind of where things are coming from. Engagement and feedback is extremely important to us. We value our customers' feedback in order to design and customize our menus for your students. So this past month, we sent out a principal engagement survey to all your principals. So that feedback that we receive from them, we get to incorporate into our menus or any changes they would like to see. And then we also have some initiatives to incorporate your other customers, which would be your students and adults' feedback as well too. So one new initiative this year is a food fight kind of initiative, and it's not your typical cafeteria food fight. It's more like a March Madness where the students get to vote on their favorite menu items. We narrow it down to 2, and then the one that they pick gets to be featured on the menu from their choice and selection. So just a nice, creative, fun idea for them. Nutrition for Life is always held in September, October. Janet held this program last month where your kindergarten students came through the lines. We gave little giveaways out to them just to make it a little bit more fun and inviting to come into the cafeteria for the first time, especially at that grade level. It can be intimidating coming through the cafeteria, not knowing what to do. So we give out bookmarks, stickers, just to kind of make them feel a little bit more in a fun environment. Buy American provision. So during the 25-26 school year, we are required to comply with federal Buy American provisions. So that means that no more than 10% of our total foods purchased for our national school breakfast and national school lunch programs may be from non-domestic sources. So this is brand new to us this year. We've implemented a tracking system and reporting procedures to ensure compliance on our end. So luckily that's a checkbox that we're able to accomplish and just make sure that we're under compliance, which we're doing right now. And then lastly, our corporate-wide initiative to embrace opportunities to make a difference is our TNG Cares program. Janet got to honor our secretary that's been with us for over 20 years last month, just acknowledging her for her hard work and dedication. And then one more. Our TNG Charities is our charity that helps those who've experienced hardships, as well as we can provide sponsor scholarships and grants to support our student growth. And that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to see that food fight tournament. See what kind of food these kids want. I want to see that. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Pretty cool. Now we'll move on to our non-consent agenda. Board meeting minutes. Waive and approve the reading of the September 25th, 2025 minutes of the Sto-Rox School District Board of Directors. And number 2, waive and accept the reading of the September 2nd, 2025 voting meeting minutes of the Parkway West Career and Technology Center Board of Directors. Any questions? None heard. There's some financial management, Mr. Reed.
First one is to approve and ratify the payment of the bills. List you got, any question on the payables list so far? No. The second is to award the bid purchase of the Stephen Foster building located at 800 Russellwood to DH3 Ventures LLC. The bids are accepted by the submit date. They were opened and chosen. The vendor or purchase is awarded the bid, so you vote on that. Any questions or concerns with that?
How do you feel about the bid? How do you feel about it?
I feel good. I mean, reading the bid and reading everything that they plan on using the school for. I mean, it's all community based and everything. So, yeah.
And to confirm, I don't know if I can say that. Stop me if I'm going before, but to confirm, it's the same. I just want people to hear it. It's the folks currently there.
Yeah.
For
The
daycare.
bid comes from the owner
I just want
of
folks
the
to hear it.
daycare, the current leasing space, right? The renting space now.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And then finally, there is a regional tax board through Allegheny County, and we want to make sure that we have representation there. So when I approve myself as the delegate, Sandy Lacard, our assistant business manager, as the first alternate, and Tony Paul, our director of curriculum and instruction, as the second alternative.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to operations. Number one, approve the following ABC transportation employees for Sto-Rox School Districts. Number two, accept donors choose projects awarded for Tim Athanis, classroom project, snack attached for a job well done. Number three, accept the anonymous donation of 2 Kettle Buck cots to the health office at the primary center. Dr. Memoir, she outside. Number four, approve the MOU with Likewise Academy for for character education after school program for this school year for grades K through 8 and expansion to 9 through 12. During school hours. Thank you.
Can you check your MOU then?
Number five, accept the donation of 199 school supply kits from the Education Partnership Adopt a School. Reliable structural engineers adopted the upper elementary school. Mrs. Johnson? You online?
She was outside.
Accept the donation of $750 from the Greater McKees Rocks Rotary for the course bus trips to Hell's Kitchen, Newsies, and Courthouse. Accept the donation of $100 from James Harkins, DMD, for upper elementary positive behavior interventions. Approve the facility usage request for Pete's Pro Painters for a free community give back event on Thursday, October 30th, 2025 at the Junior Senior High School football field in the gymnasium from 6:30 to 7:30. Hit donation for BJ Restaurants of 2 $25 gift baskets and 250 cookies for upper elementary positive behavior program. That's what I'm talking about. Co-curricular leadership. Approve, ratify the filter matrix as presented. Any questions about the matrix? Love to see it. Just a question, that's all. That's all later. Accept donation raised through school fund email campaign for the Sto-Rox Athletic Department for $840.47. Approve the Sto-Rox Special Olympics bocce team to perform at the Junior Senior High School with Lauren Ferragonio as a paid coach through the Special Olympics. That's what I'm talking about. Ms. Linsenberger, you want to talk about this at all? Does it make sense? Linsenberger.
Yeah, this is a project near and dear to my heart. I was a former bocce coach for the Special Olympics in my former school. It's a wonderful program for life skills special ed students to partner with. They're typically developing peers. So half the team is special education, half the team is regular education, partnering together in unison. It is a WPIAL sport, a varsity sport. Throughout the regional area, having 6 matches throughout the regular season with the opportunity to go into playoffs and go to Hershey for a state competition. Special Olympics fully funds the materials that we need for our bocce court, the uniforms, the coaches' stipend. All we have to do is provide transportation and a space. And it's just a really, really great and empowering opportunity for our kids.
Thank you. Special assignments. Approve the first reading of the following board policies. Policy 104, discrimination, harassment affecting the staff. Policy 103, discrimination, harassment affecting students. Policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students. And policy 918, Title I parent and family engagement. This policy replaces parent involvement policies 131 and 917. Any questions? Educational leadership. Approve, ratify the professional development matrix as presented. Any questions? None heard. Approve the agreement with Solient Spindle for substitute paraprofessional services on a day-to-day basis at a rate of $51 per hour. Ms. Linson Bigley, I'm sorry.
We talking about the Soliant one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. So right now, we already have a contract with Soliant for our paraprofessional services. We have some in-district paras, very, very difficult to staff. So we rely partially on the third-party agency. We weren't getting substitutes ever, so I kind of questioned them on that, like, why not? And they said, well, you've never asked. I said, well, now I'm asking. So it's the same exact rate of the paraprofessionals that we already have. So we're not paying any additional services. They're just providing that substitute coverage when one of our Soliant paraprofessionals is out. So it's just adding to that MOU, and their partner is Go Spindle that will help us with that sub program.
Thank you. Can you take three? I'm sorry. I think
Okay.
you take 3 and 4, please.
So number 3, New Story Schools is a school that we hadn't been partnering with previously. They're a little bit further away, but we do have a couple of students locally that have some very significant needs that were very, very difficult to find the right supports for. And we worked hand in hand with Patton, PDE, the AIU, Presley Ridge, CYF to try and create a really individualized program for this student that really needed it. And New Story Schools was able and willing and ready to make that impact on that student. And number 4, those are 2 new paraprofessionals that will officially complete our staff, hopefully for good. So Latoya Gaines, she is coming on from Soliant. She has already started at our primary center, and I've gotten amazing feedback from the building principals and the special education teachers there of the work that she's doing with some of our really high need students. And she jumped right in and was eager and ready. So I'm really excited to have her. Keith Myers is coming on from Soliant as well. He is going to start at the upper elementary on October 27th. And he has a lot of background in working with youth in our community. He's worked in our community previously in various roles. So he's familiar with the neighborhood and is ready to get started.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, number 5, approve the agreement with Kelly Services for substitute teachers, substitute professionals, and substitute clerical services. Mrs. Coleman.
Kelly Services will be providing substitutes. In the past, what was happening, teachers were giving up a lot of their time to cover classes. And we're getting ready to go into winter season. And when teachers are out, there's no one to cover. And there's combining of classes. Other teachers are giving up planning. And so we're going to try a sub service that will get subs for us to cover the classes when a teacher is out sick, or when a paraprofessional is out, or a secretary is out, so that we can still go about educating our students without putting additional stress on other teachers.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we'll go on to legal. I turn it over to our solicitor.
Item 1 is to approve the purchase of real estate property located in the North Fayette at main campus parcel ID number. Not going to read all the ID numbers. What I do want you to know is that this is about Parkway West, which is where Sto-Rox students go to their CTC. They want to expand, and so what they were asking is that they have 12 districts which attend that location, and they're growing and they don't have enough room for all the students that want to go there. So what they were trying to do is to purchase real estate at another location. In order for them to do that, the way that the joint agreement works between the 12 districts is that all 12 districts have to agree in order for this sale to occur. As far as I know at this time,
They do not have agreement from all of the districts. But in order to procure the real estate, they had to sign an agreement to hold it in case they could get agreement from all 12. And in order to get out of that sales agreement, they need to show proof that they don't have the buy-in from all the districts in order to move forward. So for that reason, they need this on the agenda now because they need the vote. And they need to show that to the people that they were purchasing the real estate from. So that's the first item. The second item is regarding a motion to seek financing, and that would be each school district would have to pitch in to get the money to cover purchasing this real estate. The amount that would be required from the Sto-Rox School District would be, is it 113 or 130, Nancy? For 30, it would be 113,000 for 30 years, and that would be the Sto-Rox contribution. And so those are the two items, separate items that are in front of you.
Is this expanding at the current location that wasn't prior purchasing?
Your memory is correct. So this was to purchase a different building. What they did is they got bids, not bids, but they had an architect come in and they got quotes to find out. I mean, I think that building was built in the 60s. It hasn't been touched at all. And so the cost of renovating it and to make it larger and to get everything up to date was comparable to buying a new space that's larger and outfitting that new space. So they, over the past, I guess, 2 years roughly, they've been trying to figure out, we have a problem. We don't have space. Number one. Number two, our place isn't up to date and it's going to need renovated and there's no way around that. And so how do we solve for that problem? Well, there's no one to fund it except the 12 districts that go there. I mean, they do get money, but they rely on the 12 school districts that send students there. So something is going to happen down the line because it's, I think, going to have to. But I think they thought that this might be a great opportunity because that space became available. It's rare to have a big space like that that's already ready to move into. I think they had to add auto garages, but other than that, it was kind of turnkey in a way. So they wanted to jump on that opportunity, but it's a tough time to ask school districts for money. So I think they're having a hard time with buy-in.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any committee reports? None heard. Public comment? Anyone stand up? Man. All right. Our next scheduled meeting will take place next Thursday here at 7 p.m. unless otherwise noted for a voting meeting. I do want to acknowledge everyone for coming out tonight. Thank y'all very much. We're about to break for a executive session. But I want to acknowledge everybody coming out tonight, especially, and not thank anybody else, but gentlemen sitting back there. We had a conversation outside. He was coming here for the meeting in general. And then he just saw that there was like a party going on outside. So he stayed for the party. But then he said, I'll be there at the meeting. So he said, my kids go to school here. They're involved. I want to show up. And I appreciate that. Thank you, sir, for showing up. Thank you very much. So thank you all for coming. Again, I'm going to break for executive session and we're not coming back. We'll be voting here next week. So again, thank you all. Meeting adjourned.